where she was saying what I've been saying right there. I've been saying it all offseason. It ain't hard. This is simple mathematics. It's an easy equation to put together.
Caitlin Clark didn't just crash the WNBA's party last season. She flipped the lights on, yanked the speakers to max, and left every ticket scalper gasping for inventory. But that was the teaser trailer. This year, it's feature film time. The Indiana Fever have rearmed with champions, rewired their playbook, and hardened in a pressure cooker the league accidentally built for them.
The Indiana Fever did incredible in free agency, and now Caitlin Clark is surrounded by not just a couple great players, the entire squad is finally full.
So the only mystery left is simple. Are we counting down to a coronation, or an earthquake that swallows the old guard whole? Picture this. Atlanta moves a random Wednesday game from a snug 3,500-seat gym to State Farm Arena's 19,000-seat bowl, weeks in advance, because Clark is coming. Dallas does the same. Chicago, United Center, sold out in 27 minutes. The WNBA's scheduling conflict just became a touring rock show, and every stop is another record shattered. That glare does weird things.
Players from other teams from scoring.
Well, last year Indiana was 10th in pace. Christy Sides telling us Clark rattles her second three.
Opposing rookies treat Fever matchups like job interviews. One viral highlight could double their follower count overnight. Veterans circle Indiana on the calendar in permanent marker. A good night against Clark lands you on every post-game panel. Broadcasters? They've handed the Fever more national slots than any franchise in league history, stapling their season across Sunday and Thursday, primetime like it's the NFL in June. Inside Indiana's locker room, though, the vibe isn't starstruck, it's steel-forged. DeWanna Bonner has paraded trophies in arenas far louder than WNBA Twitter. Natasha Howard once turned finals games into personal block parties. Sydney Colson can run an offense and a press scrum without breaking cadence. They treat the spotlight like oxygen. It only matters if it runs out. Still, the headline heat is relentless. Every missed switch blasts across timelines in 4K slow-mo. Every Clark logo 3 pops into millions of push notifications before she hits the floor again on defense.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
That kind of scrutiny either cracks a roster or crystallizes it. Indiana intends to crystallize because hype alone doesn't hang banners, but it does buy you a 24/7 stress simulator no spreadsheet can replicate. The Fever didn't window shop. They raided the vault. DeWanna Bonner glides in with a scorer's grin and enough playoff scars to start her own museum. Natasha Howard shows up dragging a U-Haul of rebounds and a "trespassers will be swatted" sign. Sydney Colson. Think floor general meets talk show host. She quarterbacks the huddle and the post-game mic in the same breath. Then there's Sophie Cunningham, a heat-check flamethrower who settles cheap shot debts at no extra charge. All that firepower needed a conductor, so Indiana stole one. Stephanie White. Championship DNA, zero patience for ball sticking, and a mantra that hits like a whistle blast. Your spacing is your voice. If you're silent, you sit. One sluggish practice sequence, and she slammed the tactics board, redrew the set, and subbed half the floor. Message received. Cruise control is canceled. Now every scrimmage snaps like a choreographed pop track. Bonner slip, Howard seal, Clark dime, net snap. What once looked like potential suddenly feels inevitable, because last year's youthful spark just found its veteran accelerant.
On paper, the Fever are damn good.
Indianapolis turned into her personal lab. No EuroLeague detours, no jet lag, just sunrise workouts that turned the practice court into a furnace. The new frame shows up first in photos. Shoulders broader, core carved like a sprinter's. But the real upgrade hides in milliseconds. Her one dribble step back now detonates 12% faster than it did in May. Trainers timed it, defenders felt it. Film sessions with Stephanie White became color-coded reaction drills. Red for lob, green for skip, yellow for pull-up. By February, the reads were hardwired. Turnover rates in scrimmages fell off a cliff, replaced by laser-threaded pocket passes that left vets nodding like, "Yep, that's the cheat code." Even the defense got teeth. Clark slid under a driving wing, ate the contact, and drew the charge, then jogged away grinning as if she'd discovered a new toy. Vegas noticed. MVP odds boards slid her name to the top shelf and bolted it there. Every closed-door scrimmage report only tightened the number. Clark won't say she's chasing hardware, she tosses out team-first sound bites. But behind the scenes, everyone knows the goal. Stats loud enough to drown every just hype whisper before it starts.
The other expectation, Caitlin Clark should expect to be the MVP or play like she's the MVP. She played close enough to an MVP as a rookie. She should get better. The teammates around her should be better. Her coach is better. There's no need to tiptoe around these things.
FanDuel's board lights up like a Vegas strip sign. Clark plus 200, Aja Wilson plus 220, knife edge tight. Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas hover in the distance. But the house says the crown is a two-woman knife fight. Wilson? Still the league's apex predator. Double-double factory, defense you feel in your ribs. Stewart? A chess grandmaster in high tops who can torch you from any square. Collier just reloaded with a stretch big sidekick. Thomas triple doubles for cardio. Clark has to outstat those resumes while outshouting the talk show echo chamber. Here's the math. Efficiency bump from veteran spacing could nudge Clark's true shooting into Wilson territory. National TV saturation turns every 30.12 assist night into a primetime loop voters can't unsee. Narrative rocket fuel. Rookie phenom leveling up to league ruler in 12 months is the storyline Hollywood would script, if it hadn't already happened.
This is the small lineup I'm talking about with Caitlin Samuelson at the 4.
Clark bounce pass it, Smith again.
But one cold week flips the script. One logo 3 at the buzzer cements it. MVPs aren't handed out. They're hijacked in real time, game after game, under a spotlight bright enough to sunburn the box score. First preseason ranking drops. Fever parked at 6th, like someone hit snooze on the hype alarm.
Mad. The Indiana Fever at 6? Oh my god.
Seattle and Phoenix, teams Indiana dusted last season, leapfrogged them on veteran stability buzzwords nobody bothered to fact-check. Cue the shrug emojis. Then ESPN's Elle Duncan warms up the excuse engine. If Clark wins MVP, chalk it up to voter fatigue with Aja Wilson.
But I will say a couple of things. Do I expect Aja Wilson to be Aja Wilson again this year? Yes. But I also know there is such a thing as voter fatigue. They don't like giving anybody MVP 3 times in a row. They barely like to do it 2 times in a row, let alone 3 times in a row. I just don't see it.
Aja Wilson hasn't won MVP twice in a row. What are you talking about? What is she talking about?
Simply because of voter fatigue. Like, it just is what it is.
Tiny hiccup. Wilson isn't chasing a three-peat. Fact spent, sound bite secured. Welcome to the new math. Move the goalposts, then tell the kicker he's short. Hot take merchants flood timelines with the usual hits. 1. Middle America novelty, because sold-out arenas in every time zone apparently share a zip code. 2. Super team bailout, as if adding winners is a crime that only counts in Indiana. 3. Defense still suspect, conveniently ignoring Clark's preseason charge draw spree like it never hit the tape. Stephanie White's response is savage minimalism. She splices those clips into film study, pauses on the loudest quote, and asks one question. Does that change how we ice a side pick? Players shake their heads, projector clicks off, practice cranks back to full throttle. Receipts stamped. Meanwhile, Clark's jersey keeps crashing online carts, and every road game relocates to an NBA arena just to fit the overflow.
Since that first quarter, Clark way outside. You bet!
The louder the skepticism, the hotter the ticket. Narratives twist. The spotlight only burns brighter, and Indiana's plan is to let the blaze light their path straight to June. Forget frequent flyer miles. The Fever spent winter in a single zip code, stacking sweat instead of passport stamps. While rivals jetted to EuroLeagues, nearly the whole roster stayed in Indianapolis, grinding through pickup marathons and team dinners that blurred into late-night film sessions. By the time camp opened, their offensive sets looked telepathic, and their trash talk came with inside joke subtitles. Now layer that hive mind onto the Caitlin Clark road circus. At least 6 opponents have already ditched cozy home gyms for NBA arenas. State Farm, United Center, American Airlines, just to squeeze in the rush. Tickets vaporize in minutes. Half the crowd wears red, white, and number 22. What should feel hostile turns into a rolling pep rally, and the Fever treat every away date like an extra rep session under playoff-level noise. Big stage nerves? They're inoculated. Close game chaos? Tuesday drill. Come postseason, Indiana won't be asking if they can handle the glare. They'll wonder why it suddenly feels quiet. Check the boards. Liberty plus 230, Aces plus 350. Fever plus 350, dead even, with Vegas for the 2 spot and stalking New York's throne. Another book pegs Indiana at plus 400, boosted to plus 450, and flat out calls Clark the best player in the league. Coaching market? It's practically a dare. Stephanie White plus 135 to snag Coach of the Year. Next closest name sits a mile back at plus 750.
Sticking with the Indiana Fever, my prediction for Coach of the Year is Coach Stephanie White.
Now stack the Fever's earlier edges and watch the leverage compound. Lever 1 is pressure conditioning. With more than 30 nationally televised games, every Fever win blasts across prime time. The bigger the stage, the bigger the highlight reel. And that supercharges Caitlin's MVP narrative overnight.
That is why she is my choice for the 2025 WNBA MVP.
Lever 2 is the hive mind chemistry they built by staying in one zip code all winter. Those extra months turned back cuts into telepathy. In crunch time, that half second of trust is the difference between a contested mid-range and a wide-open layup. Lever 3 is veteran ballast. Duwana Bonner and Natasha Howard drag championship rings everywhere they go. When scoreboards get tight, their composure tilts the final 2 minutes. And a handful of those moments can swing an entire season's standings. Lever 4 is the narrative tailwind. A second-year guard leaping from rookie sensation to league ruler is history in the making. Voters eat that up, sponsors amplify it, and suddenly every sports show intro rolls the Fever hype clip before tip-off. And Lever 5, the one that ties it all together, is odds momentum. Each win tightens the sportsbook's lines. Bettors pile in, studios chase the action, and the spotlight grows hotter. The cycle feeds itself until the only thing left to price is the parade route. It's a feedback loop with hurricane math. Edge times exposure equals escalation. One hot April, and the hype becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. Pressure forges more poise, poise produces more wins, and wins pump the odds tighter until the only thing left to price is the parade route. Opening night, the ball goes up, and every camera lens in North America snaps to Caitlin Clark like iron filings to a magnet. If the Fever's new chemistry clicks, if Clark's 2.0 upgrade holds, and if Stephanie White keeps the throttle welded open, this season doesn't just crown an MVP. It redraws the whole WNBA map in real time.
But yeah, of course, the Indiana Fever should be considered championship contenders. If they're not, that's a failure on them.
Maybe Vegas and New York flex their dynasty muscles. Maybe an untimely ankle tweak derails the hype train at the last station. That's sports. But if Indiana hits even 80% of its perfect storm forecast, the league wakes up in September with a fresh storyline carved in stone. The Clark era arrived faster than anyone budgeted for. Drop a basketball if you see an MVP speech under Gainbridge's confetti. And a fire emoji if you think the entire league's about to feel the heat. Either way, clear your schedule. Tip-off isn't the start of a season. It's the spark that could light the fuse on a brand new WNBA.